is very, very hard on himself, but I feel like he can use it to, he uses it as fuel to improve rather than sort of, go on an emo spiral downhill. But anyway, this is the man in question in the bottom left, still represented by Mouse Sports. He is HeRoMaRinE.
Man, that was a riff. And spawning in the top right, as our red Protoss, it is Trap.
All right. You know what?
They were like top 8 today. We're giving it some extra fire.
That's right. I was gonna say at the beginning of that riff, I'm like, all right, HeRoMaRinE has won best freeware riff, but after the end of that riff, Trap really came back in that regard, and I do believe in the end Trap might have had the better lick at the beginning of that player intro there.
If only the riffs had something to do with their play, though, you know?
If only they mattered in any way.
Okay, so starting this game off, like Eternal Empire, that's a good one for kind of like testing out your opponent. And Big Gabe, HeRoMaRinE, he's going for the barracks first and the gas second. This means he's going to get out the Reaper, most likely going to have a Marine follow-up afterwards. It can also be for getting down a reactor ASAP after the Reaper start, but it usually shows like, I'm not going to do anything too wild, too crazy, like the factory's going to be a slight bit delayed and such. It just shows that he's going to do what he does best, which is totally standard, safe HeRoMaRinE play.
Yeah, gonna again echo your thoughts at the beginning of the broadcast there when we were just hanging out with Smix, is that both these players are versions of each other but play for the other race. Trap generally likes to play pretty standard. The most wildest thing he'll do that I've seen him do recently is like a parting 4-gate, which at the moment feels like a pretty standard build in PvT, especially in a best of 5 or something like that. Just as a good aggressive build and maybe one of the smaller maps, something like that. But Big Gabe, I mean, I don't remember the last time Big Gabe actually like proxied structures out in the map or something wild like that, like some of the crazier Terrans like to do. He really just likes to go for things like, but the Hellion pressure, maybe Hellions in a medevac might be something kind of aggressive that Gabe does, but that still feels so standard.
I can't, well, that's one of the reasons I love StarCraft, because you get to really imprint your style on the game. And Big Gabe, upon seeing that probe at his front door, kind of fends it off a little bit with the Marine, and then goes and hunts it down with the Reaper, knowing that, I can't really get that much info or that much damage done on the other side of the map right now. And given that I haven't seen anything too wild, I think he even scouted with an SCV as well. He's in a pretty decent position here. Nothing too crazy going on.
And it looks like Trap's just going for a pretty regular blink opening at the moment. The Reaper actually getting up to the high ground, saving itself for now, but just trying to avoid the Adept. Going to regenerate some hit points in a second, so we'll be able to take one more shot. But Trap's on the intercept path. Oh, he's out of there. See you later.
Yeah, this is nice, just making sure that you get to see what units your opponent's making. Because if that was is Trap going to be up to... Okay, that's a nice denial, given that HeRoMaRinE wanted to go for extra Hellions. So having the Reaper available, it would mean that you can like pop open a unit in that wall and sneak the Hellions in. But that was quite nice information for HeRoMaRinE, because if you see it's a Stalker second or an Adept second, that can really kind of signal you like, I'm against a Stargate here, given that he's saving gas, but that isn't the case at all.
And just very similar to all the TVPs I've seen recently from Big Gabe against Parting, against Drogo, of course, from losers bracket of the European finals. It's just multiple Hellion start up here, just to try and get himself a little bit of map control. It's a great scouting unit. You can actually chase down all those early gateway units as well. It's sort of like an added benefit of having those early Hellions. If Trap is deciding to poke the front with a couple gateway units, the Hellions really punish that. He's just going to go for the third Nexus here. Everything Trap related is still on his side of the map. He's not poking Gabe at all. He's happy to just sit there and let the Terran come to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this one from HeRoMaRinE here. Like, going for the 4 Hellion follow-up after you've lost the Reaper already. Like, Trap's done everything right here. Like, he's got a shield battery at the front. Gets to pick off a probe here, which is nice, but I don't see the big damage follow-up that he's really looking for here. And Trap, I think he's expecting this to be a medevac drop into the main or something, because that's where he's positioning his Stalkers. So I do like in fact, okay, I take it all back. The fact that Gabe's gone for 3 CC behind this, and that's what he's showing, because he's still on he was on 1 gas for quite some time. I like that he's kind of signaling to Trap that he's doing something else that he isn't doing.
That's a really good point. It looks like it could potentially be a Hellion ferry into the main with a medevac, right? And that's why the Stalkers are going up there. Meanwhile, he's actually just being greedy with a 3rd CC, like you mentioned. So a good little edge there for Gabe. I actually really like his econ situation. Obviously, there's a 3rd Nexus for the Protoss. He's not behind on workers or anything like that. It is still a regular PvT for both players. And there we go. First Prism from Trap. So first signs of him moving across the map and trying to do something in a few short seconds against the Terran as Charge goes next on that Twilight Council.
A lot of this game's going to come down to, okay, this Observer seeing that medevac flying out, that's obviously quite nice. And Trap does have another Observer on his side of the map below his natural, so he's very nicely set up, like posturing defensively. But the thing is, Gabe has played incredibly greedy, and Trap isn't going for hyper tech behind this. He's kind of just gone for blink. He's going for charge now. I don't really see any forges on the map either. And Maynard, this could get very spicy very soon, given that he's on 3 gases only and whipping out a lot of gateways.
Yeah, this 3-gas mass gateway style, I feel like it's more powerful when you have forges, when you have upgrades going with it, which you can afford. So this +1 timing coming up for Gabe, which is a pretty standard +1 timing for Terran, should be able to be help with just sheer amounts of units. Widowmine drop there in the natural. Good probe pullback from Trap, though. He's going to lose 1 probe there on the assimilator. The other Widowmine looks like it's just going to... Oh, probe's coming a little bit early. Okay, Trap pulls it back.
Oh, nice by Gabe.
The Widowmine. Yeah, very nice retarget there. Just continuing to deny mining. Oh, get out of here. Oh, that's fantastic for Gabe. That's so annoying.
Oh, it even gets to scout the Warp Prism on his way back as well with the Hellions. Like, these Hellions, even though they... Again, I was like, okay, I don't see how they can get damage done without the Reaper. They've kind of shown so much misinformation, and Gabe's actually getting pretty damn far ahead in supply. Trap has stopped pro production entirely, by the way. And we do see that Gabe is 20 supply ahead. Trap's even supply blocked for the moment as well, while doing an all-in. This is a crazy situation.
It is pretty wild. A couple of medevacs full of units did go across the map, so it might be a little bit of an anti-move there from HeRoMaRinE. The third base is in a ton of trouble here. He's going to lift that and get it out of there, and too late at this point. That's going to die for sure.
Oh, this is getting very spicy. He's also going to deal his own drop, but Recall is a pretty good spell to have, and that entire army of Trap is now back in his natural, blinking away from the bio, taking out the medevacs. This definitely was a good trade for Trap, given that he actually got to kill the third base. But his army, it's incredibly low upgraded right now. There's still not a forge on the map. And we got to remember, Trap put a lot into that attack. And when you have 1-0 upgraded bio against non-upgraded gateway units, that's a pretty good trade for HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, the +1 attack bio really does start to shred. We got 5 barracks to see on 2 bases, a couple of them missing add-ons. So it kind of looks like HeRoMaRinE is just going to try and go for a big attack with just what he has in the main base on 2 bases here. Getting up a third, it really depends on how much damage you can do across the map. Zealots getting into the main base from Trap. They're going to kill a bunch of SCVs here. One of those Zealots on the edge of the map just sort of keeping that Marine count at bay. 7 SCVs and all the Zealots are still alive. This is really, really good for the Protoss here.
Yeah, the thing is, Gabe wants to get out. He wants to deal damage. He needs to deal counter damage, but Trap's doing the absolute right thing. He's doing everything he can to keep HeRoMaRinE in his base, and HeRoMaRinE with this army, now he's going to look to move, or is he? He's looking so hesitant about doing anything right now. Like, he needs to go. He needs to attack. Storm's on the way.
I agree with you 100%, but he maybe doesn't believe in just the bio getting it done. There's the boys. All right, there's that attack timing we're expecting from Gabe. He's on 2 bases. No third's been started, so he has to go for a big all-in. Might as well bring the boys. And these 2 Liberators are going to be very crucial as well. So while Trap is going to continue to find damage here with these Zealots, it doesn't really matter because Gabe's all in anyway. The Prism dies, though, so at least only 2 Zealots have to be worried about the main base.
Yeah, and he didn't pull any SCVs from the main either. It was only SCVs from the natural, so Trap is only now finding out that, oh gosh, this is a super hyper all-in from Big Gabe here, and nice force fields to kind of delay this attack a little bit, but he's got no energy left for Guardian Shield, which I think is a massive error by Trap, and losing one of his vital units.
No batteries at the third base either. In come the Liberators. Trap might get punished pretty hard for cutting this corner here, Ben. We've got a tank coming up into the high ground. The Liberator's really assisting a ton with those Zealots. They're just melting to the +1 attack bio. It's about to have +1 armor as well. The Stalkers on their own with that Immortal are going to be dwarfed by the power output here of the stemmed bio. This counterattack is looking very deadly.
Wow, lost his third base, but he knew exactly when to go. The 2 Liberator with 2 tank support and all that bio. Even the Hellions were a nice, meat shield at the front there, and this isn't the end of this push by any means. Some SCVs are still left over, but HeRoMaRinE's economy behind this is absolutely shattered, but wow, using an overcharge before it actually got to do anything? That's also a blunder by Trap. I think he's flustered here.
I agree, and it's not like he has any storms, but he can rely on Archons, which are obviously fantastic. But with these Liberators and this choke point, the Archons are just going to melt, and they continue to do so. There's the GG. HeRoMaRinE, Big Gabe, starting the series off strong with a 1-0.
I was judgmental about his build. I was like, those extra Hellions, oh, Gabe, you can't deal damage. And then it was like a light bulb, the magnificence of that build, it all came into play. And I love that he made Trap think that something else was happening. Like, very often, we can talk about StarCraft 2 being very complex, and it's a game of misinformation, right? Like, you have this formula in your head of what your opponent's doing, and there's massive question marks. And HeRoMaRinE sold them on a story that absolutely wasn't the case. He got ahead greedily, and that just shows how far ahead he was too. Like, he lost his third base, he didn't lift it in time. He did a drop, which kind of got shut down. Yeah, he killed a few probes, but he still had enough to deal a counterattack like that and did so much damage to the point that he killed Trap. And Trap, he's one of the best Protoss versus Terran in the world. The fact that he did that to him, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, Trap's been showing some cracks in the veneer, though, as far as his PvT goes. He lost a series to Clem, dropped a map to Clem as well in their rematch, but of course ended up getting the victory and getting out of the group in the end. So maybe not as flawless PvT as he was at the moment. I mean, Game 1 is definitely an indicator of that. It feels like, again, I mentioned it when we first saw that 3-gas mass gateway style, that you got to have some kind of upgrade going for you as a Protoss to really get the most out of a lot of those gateway units, because you're at the expense of all your tech. You don't have Colossi, you don't have Archons for quite a while. You can get them later, of course, but you are trying to overwhelm the Terran. You're going to be fighting the Terran a lot with an army like that, because you're going to be, using Blink Stalkers to poke the natural. You're going to be using Zealots to try and hold on when they get up at your third base, that sort of thing. And I mean, we just saw how fast those units die to your +1 stim bio, especially when the boys are in front of them. When they got that big linebacker line of those SCVs, they're doing sick backline damage.
Yeah, he had like one AoE unit, which was the Archon. No shield batteries there at all. So like, that unit falls and those SCVs, like, they are going to do a damn good job tanking. But I think a lot of that game was on Trap. As soon as the Observer came across the map and he was like, oh, like, he's got a third CC and stuff. Like, he's got all, like, and I haven't pressured this at all, even though I've gone for a Blink opening. I was playing Blink defensively, not Blink aggressively where I could punish it. So I've just let my opponent get very far ahead. So I think in Trap's mind, he was like, okay, I can't realistically think about the follow-up to this big all-in that I'm doing. This all-in just has to deal so much damage right here, right now. But yeah, again, Trap can definitely be like, yeah, like this isn't going to be straightforward here. Like, this guy's got some tricks and builds up his sleeve, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the series now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trap and Big Gabe have met each other. It was about a year ago, almost to this month. The GSL vs. the World. I think it was in like July or August. I don't remember, even though I was there. It feels like so long ago. In the world of esports, a year might as well be 10 years, you know what I mean? But it definitely was like very, very Trap dominated. He looked very good in those games. Like, there was, I think, one game that Gabe won, but the games that Trap did win, they looked very sort of like Trap got his plan and it went the way he wanted it to, and he really just sort of grabbed each game by the short hairs and didn't let go. That game was very much a tug of war between the Terran and the Protoss. And I feel like this series is going to be a lot like that. We're going to have a very close match here, and I'm super excited to see what Game 2 looks like. It's going to be on Everdream, which is Trap's map pick, and let's get amongst it. Super excited.
Yeah, that first game didn't go as I thought it was going to go at all. Anyhow, spawning in the top right, as our red Protoss currently 0-1 down, it is Trap.
All right, and in the bottom left here, the German player, the biggest of Gabes. He is HeRoMaRinE.
There was something that Big Gabe said on his stream the other day, and I think this was yesterday, actually, as I was watching, and he was talking about, like, he's top 8 of the biggest tournament right now. And like, top 4 is in his sights. Like, if he could get top 4 at the biggest tournament there is right now, like, and I saw the smile on his face, I saw the joy inside those eyes, like, when you realize you
sparkling.
when you are that close and there's an opponent in front of you like Trap, and I mean, Trap's damn good. Like, I know a lot of people probably count Big Gabe out of this, but HeRoMaRinE's been playing incredibly strong. Like, the only people that have really halted him and like absolutely stomped him have been like Serals and Reynas, which he's also taken maps off in the past series. Like, this is a very, very comfortable and confident Gabe that we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and potentially rightfully so, are always, whenever you bring up the topic of best foreign Terran, at the moment, everyone looks at Clem, right? Everybody is looking at Clem just because of how well he's been performing, not just last year, but all of this year. We were saying that 2020 is really going to be Clem's year. And for the most part, it's been looking that way. He's been getting better and better and better. But in the top 8, it is Big Gabe. He is top of his group. He's in that top 8. He's got Trap, who is an extremely tough opponent, but you're not going to have a free win in the top 8 of the DreamHack Summer Playoffs because it's just it is, as you mentioned, at the moment, the best 8 players in the world facing off. That's how this tournament works. We've separated the wheat from the chaff, if it were. There you go.
We certainly have. And I think it's awesome as well that HeRoMaRinE for the last few years has been that consistent Terran. Like his slumps, they're just not there. Now, his highs are definitely starting to appear, though, which is something that we didn't see before. Like this is absolutely a phenomenal showing by the young Terran. And people that kind of sleep on him, like they absolutely shouldn't, because that play in the first game, I'm looking forward to see what he can bring, because right now he's just showing a very, very similar start to things. Now, I don't necessarily want it to be the exact same thing again, but the thing is that opening, oh wow, this Reaper just kind of gets into the main base and gets to see absolutely everything by the looks of it. But as I was saying, that opening has a lot of different ways to follow it up. Oh, this is a cheeky Adept and Probe.
Yeah, both in tandem there. Oh, the most important thing they've done so far is not only get some SCV damage, but also just delay the natural a little bit. No SCV to finish off that command center yet for Gabe. That's still on standby, which affects how much he can build here as far as supply goes. Oh my god, the Adept and the Probe are in the main. Gabe's just had no units because of this reactor.
Yeah, this has been a really bad start for Big Gabe. 5 SCVs going down to the random Probe and Adept combo. I mean, this isn't super unorthodox by Trap to do this, but Gabe has just been very unfortunate and just totally not prepared for this at all.
No, and the Adept does finally go down, but one of her healthier sisters rolls up and just continues to really rule the low ground here still. Even though there's a bunker, Gabe can't get near it, and he needs to keep that front door protected with these Marines. Now that the Cyclone's out, this shenanigans, these footsies are ended. You know, Trap has to pull back with this poke, but what a poke, though. Like, at the expense of 1 Adept and 1 Probe, you get all of that Terran infrastructure delayed and all those SCV kills. What a fantastic start for Trap.
Yeah, the combo of the Adept and the Probe as well, like the one little zap of the Probe means the Adepts then 2-shot the workers. So that Probe actually did a lot of work, and it shows you how different this game went. Like, the Reaper initially in the first game went and hunted down that Probe, realizing how annoying it can be. And this game, Trap kept it alive and was like, yeah, I'm going to use that in combination with that Adept. And man, it worked out damn well. And now we have a 30 or 40 Probe to 29 SCV situation. So definitely in Trap's favor.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to snowball economically in the Protoss' favor. He's not missed a beat with his macro. Gabe, same deal, but he's just working with a little bit less. You know, he's got to get that SCV count a little bit higher, third base, all that sort of stuff. He wants to have a pretty booming economy. At the moment, he is still on catch-up duties. He is poking at the front with that Cyclone. I like the idea of being active with the Cyclone, because you can sometimes, before Blink is done at least, pick off a Stalker or that sort of thing. But at the moment, that Cyclone really doesn't have any business on the other side of the map. It'll just get picked off for free, I feel.
I'm very curious as to what Gabe's going to follow this up with. I think it was Bunny do a very similar build where he felt quite behind in the, because he hasn't got a starport on the way here, Maynard, like at all. But his third barracks is almost completed here. And like, you know, we've got Stim on the way, +1 on the way. I think this is going to be hardcore aggression. He needs to make sure that he denies the scout with the Observer and also denies the blink damage. Because, wow, blinking in on that tank immediately there. That was very ballsy by Trap, and gonna get the Cyclone as well as the tank. Definitely a nice job by him.
Yeah, and he keeps most of those Stalkers alive. So Trap's only lost 2 Stalkers. The trades have absolutely been in his favor. It hasn't been free picking off those units, but it's been in his favor, which means that the lead just gets further and further. Now, Trap has stopped probing for a little bit here just so he can afford a bit of a gateway explosion. Once again, playing that 3-gas mass gateway style, but this time with +1 attack.
Trap must be looking. He's like, okay, where's this starport of yours, mate? Because I don't see it right now. And Gabe makes sure he denies that vision just to kind of have Trap be a bit like, okay, what's going on here? So constantly trying to keep his opponent in the dark. And Gabe, he's going for that 4th and 5th barracks, Maynard. And again, denying vision, denying Trap the ability to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and Trap's gonna, I mean, he is just showing signs of wanting to really press the issue here. The Prism on the other side of the map. It could just be 4 Zealots in the main with a potential warp in if there's an opening. As most of his army still seems to be sort of, you know, situated in sort of choke points here reactively. The sentries and obviously the mortals are at home, so that's like the real firepower for Trap. With that salvage on the bunker, it looks like Gabe's going to start moving across the map in a minute.
Yeah, and I mean, if this game goes on, like, for another 3 minutes or so, Gabe's going to fall very far behind. But once this 4th and 5th barracks complete, and I mean, there's a Templar Archives on the way, so there will be mainly Storm in production, I guess, soon, but Gabe has to make something happen with this push. Wow, he's actually even going for add-ons on the 4th and 5th barracks, kind of slowing things down a bit again. Trap's playing this really well, because again, he knows he needs to buy time.
Yeah, some of his army supplies over here in that prism, but I like the idea there from Big Gabe to leave a few Marines at home, just knowing that this is a likely play from the Protoss. And it looks like he really wants that War Prism, bringing his army back from the middle of the map here to intercept it.
Again, though, this is all Trap just buying time, because we look at that production tab, Maynard. We got High Templars on the way, we got Storm on the way. And again, his supply is just getting a little bit ahead of HeRoMaRinE here. Granted, he is 20-ish probes ahead, which is a staggering number, but Gabe is going in for a pretty big all-in here, it looks like.
Yeah, he certainly is. Lots of units here for Gabe, and this needs to work out for him if he wants to have a chance in this game. The tanks, of course, on siege at the moment, just trying to fight in their regular DPS. Some Zealots in the natural, plenty of bio left over for Gabe, though. Should be able to clean up these Zealots without taking too much SCVs. The sights are really set on this push to the 3rd Nexus and how much damage it's going to do. Trap's still a ways off having Storm. These High Templar are getting a little bit too far forward here.
Yeah, I think Gabe's done a really good job of keeping enough bio at home, or at least he knows that that's a potential. Oh, this Archon warping in far too aggressively here. The Zealots all cleaned up the base. This Big Storm.
There's some bad weather for you, mate. Some extreme weather for Big Gabe. He loses all of his bio, and like we mentioned, that needed to work for Big Gabe. It needed to do some pretty critical damage for him to win that game, and he just taps out when it fails spectacularly. Trap going to tie it up one apiece. A pretty good back-and-forth series so far, with Everdream being a little bit more cut and dry. Maybe what a lot of people expected from Trap HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, I think Trap this game sussed out exactly what was going on, and we can't forget that Adeptum probe at this level. You cannot be allowing that to happen if you're HeRoMaRinE. Like, I know the bunker literally just finished on the last hit. The Marine died. The CC was also 99% complete. So there was a lot of like very unlucky factors for him, but still, I think going on into this series, HeRoMaRinE's going to pay a lot more respect to that first scouting probe, because you can't let that happen.
No, absolutely not. At this level of StarCraft, every mistake is going to be punished very, very hard. But luckily at this level of StarCraft, there's less mistakes. This is one of the hardest games in the whole world to make mistakes in. It's so many things happening at once, so many things happening constantly, and every second does matter. Are we going to be on Pillars of Gold here for the next map, which is HeRoMaRinE's map pick? I've been finding that Terrans have been having a little bit more luck on this map when it comes to tank pushes and that sort of thing. There are some, I guess, some terrain advantages, but it does feel like you still have a bit of a kill box, a bit of a death zone when you get into between the third nexus and natural ramp sort of area for the Protoss, when they can come in from two sides, especially if they go for Colossus or something like that. This those regular +1 attack timing pushes from Terran can just sort of fall to the wayside. I'm very excited to see what Gabe's got for us in this game and what plan both these players have got.
Yeah, like Big Gabe's obviously bringing different builds to the series, which is always important, you know, keeping your opponent on the toes and stuff. Now, maybe he didn't plan on that build at all. It was just kind of I'm in really bad shape, I've got to do something a bit drastic. But getting onto Pillars of Gold, like, this is very much a macro-centric map, and we saw him win with the 3cc build in the first game. But yeah, as you pointed out, tank pushes are really darn good on this. And after tying up the series, we're now on map 3, which is Pillars of Gold, and spawning in the bottom left-hand side, it is Trap.
And in the top right from Mouse Sports, the German Terran. He is HeRoMaRinE. Ooh, he won the Rift battle. He won the Rift battle. Very nicely done.
Win the Rift battle, win the war. Kind of the motto of the series.
It is.
Even though it absolutely shouldn't be.
In our hearts and minds, Ben. In our hearts and minds. So what are some things that you've seen Protoss like to do on this map? Particularly, I feel like, I mean, Trap hasn't been doing anything crazy in this series at all so far, and I don't expect anything wild from him. I do feel like Colossi and just that sort of unit comp, you know, the robotics bay, getting your 4 gases on the natural and the main base, then taking your 3rd and going to the robotics bay, sort of, that sort of thing. I feel like it's a little bit stronger on this map for some reason. I'm not sure why. Am I crazy here?
You're not crazy, mate, or at least not for that reasoning. Like, I think there's a lot of good dead air space for the Warp Prism, but also equally for, like, Widow Mines. For example, like, either below Big Gabe's natural or above Trap's, or main, rather, or above Trap's main. There's, like, this big chasm here where you can absolutely have Warp Prism sit by and just kind of make a push delayed very easily, which we've seen Trap use to great effect in this series so far with the Warp Prism. But I'm definitely interested in what Gabe's going to do on this map, because I feel that this is very much a reactive matchup in that the Terran can scout something. It's like, oh, you're going Stargate, oh, you're going Twilight, or like Robo. There's many different tech paths to go for. But we also haven't seen Big Gabe really throw out the very standard Widowmine push, which I think is very good on this map.
Yeah, I mean, every single standard build that you have against Terran, War Terran versus Protoss is basically like, you know, opening with Hellions, maybe a Widowmine drop, and then your regular tank push timing. And we haven't seen the Widowmine drop yet from Gabe too much. I mean, he did get a little bit of a scuffle on Eternal Empire. I remember he had some of that retargeting action where he actually did get a Stalker with those Widowmines, but it's not like something that was constant all game long. And with the dead air on this map, you can be very annoying with the medevac, just as Protoss would be with a War Prism.
So the Reaper dying to the Adept there, that's one advantage of this map in that the natural is up its own ramp. And there, Trap got a couple of hits off, then used the Shade to finish it off. But Big Gabe back at home, he went for 2 Marines before his reactor, meaning that he's actually respecting this Adept a lot more this game, which I like. Now, having this little squad, you will be able to kind of push the Adept back, but not freely. And Trap, he's just making sure that he can be as annoying as possible. And a second Adept shows up as well. This is very annoying for Gabe here.
Yeah, well, the power of the Adept is that the Shades can't be shot, so they can just shade past the bunker and avoid it completely and just deny mining from these mineral lines. Obviously, when a few more reacted rounds come out of their barracks, when the Cyclone comes out, this is over. But it's still just an annoying little edge for the Protoss, where the Terran is just going to have a natural just sits there almost as a supply structure that can scan, because you're not going to be mining from it for a while. Yeah,
and when Gabe's the one making like these defensive units, like Cyclones and stuff, I'm much more feeling uneasy for him, because letting Trap dictate the pace of the game, oh gosh, and these Adepts actually get into the main here, a full scout as well. Like seeing the 2 barracks here is very much like, oh, you're going to be doing a push fairly soon, right? Because there's no reason to have that second barracks up. So that's actually a pretty big mistake by HeRoMaRinE.
I'm with you there. So this is something that's a little bit unorthodox, the multiple barracks builds in TVP, but they are so powerful when they're unscouted, because you show up with more buy than they expect. And I love that call from Trap to go for the robotics bay here. Really feels like going for tier 3 robotics units, specifically the Colossus, because the Disruptor's a little bit hit and miss. The Colossus is such a great unit to have against just a lot of Marines, or just a lot of bio in general.
Feels very much like the same build again from HeRoMaRinE. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 3rd barracks drop down fairly soon, even though he's got like a big gas build up. But yeah, we'll see what he does, because tank pushes are still very good. Like, these 2 buildings at the ramp here for the Protoss, they are pretty darn exposed to a like tank push. And yeah, we do see that 3rd barracks on the way. I hope this isn't a signal that Big Gabe is A, running out of confidence, but B, feeling like this is his only opportunity to really get Trap.
I mean, Gabe's got such a good late game TVP. Like he was. I mean, last time we saw a really late game TVP was probably, you know, partying or against Drogo, that sort of thing. But it's few and far between. The games that he's shown in TVP usually get decided in the mid game more than anything. Game 1 of him versus Trap, no exception there. So maybe he just doesn't feel confident. Maybe he thinks that Trap's too good in the late game versus some of the other Protosses he's played so far in DreamHack.
I think there's also some other things going on here, like. You see how Big Gabe's been sending out like the Marine, the SCV here, even got this turret at the front. A lot of it signals to me that he was very unsure about what he was playing against. And like obviously having that turret at the front, that's very indicative of, oh, am I against DTs here? I better be safe. And it's just not having those Hellions on the map, getting that Reaper killed early on. Like, you don't have the scouting info that you absolutely need in this matchup. And Trap, he didn't take full advantage of it. But going for the Colossus, seeing that is going to be a lot of bio, was absolutely a good call by him.
Completely agree. And, you know, some of the openings that Gabe likes to go for, the Hellion openings, that sort of thing, usually can incorporate a Raven. And I think that Ravens are fantastic for pushing against Colossi, obviously, because you can lock 1 down or 2 down if you're lucky with Interference Matrix. But there's nothing like that for Gabe. So he actually is going to still go for this push. He's going to try. You have to try. But when he meets multiple Colossi, he's going to, I think, have his heart sink in his sock a little bit. He's going to be like, oh, God. I like the idea of just going for a drop and chilling at the moment.
I like it a lot, too. And also with the fact that he's gone for a third. But wait, double Reaper on the way? I think that's a mistake, right? It's got to be.
Click, I think. Yeah.
And I mean, that's a lot of gas to just kind of funnel into two Reapers. Unless this is like 200 IQ player, they're going to go up somewhere and deal some damage. But I can't really see it being the case. That being said, Trap, even though he went for the Colossus, he didn't go for the greediest third with this. Like, he really got up all 4 gases. So HeRoMaRiNE's not super far behind economically. Oh,
no,
gosh.
not
And when
really.
you see those Reapers pop out, it's like, oh, gosh.
I mean, Gabe's just like, might as well use them, I guess. Send them across the map and have a look at the next side. Have a look and see if there's any expansions out there, if he's going for a quick fourth or something. The Reapers are just going out the map. I mean, obviously, this is just the stock standard 7-minute 2 Reaper scout harassment.
That was the most useful standard Reaper of all time, by the way.
And that is how Reapers look at this point in the game. They really are made at the start of the game, very deliberately. Single Zealot also going to get rid of this one. But yeah, we're going to have a battle here very shortly. HeRoMaRiNE's army is encroaching upon the Protoss. He gets a good scan on the Protoss army. And actually, the Reaper gets a full scout. All right, there you go.
And that charge was just like, I'm here, I'm there. By the way, with the 1 attack upgrade, they do actually 4-shot probes now. My gosh. Okay, it was short-lived, but still.
Yeah. Just memeing a little bit here, guys. I think that it's actually a great call for Gabe to be very patient here. You know, we are seeing Gabe play very patient, very reactively to what he's seeing from Trap. He's going for a Ghost Academy because EMPs are just fantastic in general against Protoss. And he is also going for Starport Reacted here to get out his Viking count and fatten that Viking count somewhat, because his anti-Colossi countermeasures are pretty much just the Marauders and the tanks at the moment. And the charge lots can really collapse on all that.
Trap, though, it doesn't look like he wants to be making this game go on for a long time. Like, his probe count, he's absolutely stopped probing, and this is a lot of Protoss arriving, and Big Gabe gives up his third base, which is absolutely the right call. He's fallen back to his natural, but still, this is so much Protoss.
Very good maturity there from Gabe to pull back into the main base with that third. He's just like, okay, you know, I'm not going to get too crazy here, not going to take too many risks. And he is going to try and hold the line there on the natural, and it worked. It caused Trap to pull out of his initial plan of attacking.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I know a lot of people might be looking at this and being like, oh, Gabe's so far behind now. Yes, he is behind, but he's moving on to getting up to 10 Vikings here very soon, getting the Ghosts out as well. And this isn't a super hyper tech upgraded Protoss army. Like, the supplies are still very close. Big Gabe's got +1. And when you get rid of all that shield on the army, it's incredibly squishy. So Big Gabe, he does definitely have a timing with these Ghosts coming out very soon.
Absolutely. The Colossi, even though they're a giant unit, really feel like they're made of paper when you have a lot of Vikings or just a lot of Marauders attacking into them. They just die so quickly. So, you know, compositionally, I'm with you, Ben. Like, yes, his economy sucks versus Trap, and Trap's about to have a bunch of upgrades line up, so he's going to have +1 attack and armor. But I really feel like with this composition from Gabe, he could potentially take a very good fight.
Yeah, not just a good fight. Like, Trap's fearing for his life right now, and he's pulling back. He's making cannons, and that War Prism, it's going to be able to deal counter damage. Oh, okay, the Storms. They absolutely are a game changer here, because landing Storms, getting this Warp Prism in the middle for the, what's it called, the reinforcements as well is rough, but these Ghosts, they're moving forward.
Oh, big EMPs from Gabe there. The High Templar drained to their juice. There are a few down at the third base that do have some bad weather available. Storm is done for Trap. The Colossus have been deleted from these Vikings, and High Templar from downtown. Charge lots on the right sides. Stalkers on the left. Immortals and Archons also getting amongst it. It looks like there's just not enough firepower from Gabe at the moment, with the reinforcement warp-ins from Trap being a little bit too much, and that's GG with Trap moving on to match point, winning game 3.
I was really impressed by Trap, honestly. Like, that was very, very close. And guys, we'll be going to a short break, but we'll return right after.
Oh, looks like it's me, guys. Look, it's me. I asked Muslim if he wanted to intro. I was trying to be democratic, trying to be thoughtful. You know, a relationship's all about a little bit of give, a little bit of get. But I'm gonna just have to say, on behalf of the casting team here, welcome back to DreamHack Summer. I am Maynard. With me is Demumu, and we are in the midst of HeRoMaRinE versus Trap. Thoughts on the series so far, mate?
Well, I was just playing a little bit of intro chicken with you, Maynard, but I didn't actually hear. So I totally didn't hear you ask. So I was like,
that's okay.
Oh yeah, Maynard's got this. He loves this kind of stuff. But no, I do like the way that Trap's playing right now. Like, I feel he's getting a bit more of a handle on how Gabe's playing a little bit cheeky, a little bit tricky. Gabe's trying to resort back to this build that I'm not sure I'm feeling it, you know? Like, it doesn't... He's really allowing Trap to set the pace of the game. I like the way he utilized the Hellions in the first game. Like, that allowed him to be the one that was really like, okay, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Like, you have to keep up with me rather than the other way around. I think as soon as you're like, okay, I'm going to make a bunker, I'm going to then get a cyclone, I'm going to get ready to deflect what you're throwing at me as opposed to the other way around, I think that's exactly what Trap wants. So I really hope for this fourth match, which will be Ice and Chrome, that we can see something a little bit different from HeRoMaRinE, and maybe he's the one that's dictating the pace a little bit.
It does feel like game 2 and 3 are similar stories in the sense that both games, the Terran's economy really never got to be at a comfortable stage, and he went for an attack that absolutely had to do damage, and it just never got anywhere near what he wanted. He never even got near the Nexus in both games. Both times, Trap intercepted him, cut him off at the pass, and even in that game, those storms from downtown up from the north, that was brutal. And we are in this game looking to see if this guy can take us to the ace match. At the bottom left from Mal Sports, it is HeRoMaRinE.
And spawning over in the top right, currently 2-1 up, it is Trap.
Oh, bit of a Soundgarden feel to the top right intro lick there. I quite like it. Bit of a Soundgarden fan myself.
I absolutely know what you're talking about. Anyhow, Maynard.
Yeah, absolutely. Music bands. Good. Yes.
How do you feel about this continuous barracks first by HeRoMaRinE? Because I'm personally, even though I think this is one of the best builds, I do think varying it up a little bit, just keeping the Protoss on their toes, like with a gas first or something, can absolutely be helpful.
Yeah, like a faster factory or something like that. I mean, yeah. I'm one of those people that think that if you are a player that plays standard all the time and you're really, really good, obviously rely on that because that's the stuff you're really comfortable with, that's the stuff you're best at. But especially in a best of 5, have that one game where you've got that pocket build. You know, you got something special for a particular map where you're like, I'm going to put a factory on the other side of the map. You know, I'm going to put a starport next to that factory and things are going to get weird. I think every player should have that in a tournament. Have that one build just to keep the opponent on their toes and get a sneaky map win.
I'm absolutely with you because, like, even though Terran, like, you know, you get the players like Maru. Oh, actually, okay, he's gone for Marine.
All right.
I take it all back. So this means he is going to be getting that faster factory. He also got the Marine out, meaning it builds like 12 seconds faster or something on a Reaper. I think 14 to be exact. But anyway, like, he gets it out. And it's like, okay, I've denied the probe scout. I'm doing something cheeky. I'm actually getting that faster factory despite not getting the Reaper. Like, this is what I wanted to see from him. And if he goes for that factory switch and just gets out a few Hellions straight away, then I'm going to be absolutely in love with the fact that he's bringing something very different. And Trap also bringing something different this game, going for the Stargate.
Yeah, we can see different styles and all these. There are so many different ways to play all the matchups in StarCraft 2, and it looks like Trap and HeRoMaRinE are doing exactly that here in this tournament game. Trap does, I mean, he used to be called the Wing Commander back in the day. Until like 5 years ago when he first sort of splashed on the scene, IM Katowice got himself into the grand finals against Zest, where he unfortunately got bopped. But that's basically when the community, the Western community, sort of realized how good Trap was before he sort of, you know, did a little bit better in Geneva Pro League and that sort of thing. And he just really got a name for himself as being a master with these Stargate units. And I remember him doing quite well in a PvT on Submarine. Can't remember exactly who that was against, but very, very strong sort of Phoenix into ground pound army build from Trap. And I think this is actually one of the bigger maps. I think the bigger the map is, the stronger flying units tend to be on it by design.
I do like this by Big Gabe as well, by the way. Like, there's not much on the ground here. Like, obviously, he could have ran this SV and Marine up to the high ground with what he's doing. But he gets the 2 Hellions out, then he switches up the add-ons. And because those 2 Adepts are on his side of the map, actually running in and hugging the probes there, He gets a little bit of damage done. This could be nice.
Ooh.
2 probes,
Okay.
not too bad, but a big scout is the big deal here. So seeing that you're against oracles, he was going Banshee with Cloak, and then he was like, no, I'm going to change it up. Is this just... Okay, I'm not sure if he's, again, playing reactive as opposed to dictating the pace.
Yeah, this is a reaction, I feel like, for sure, when you see Stargate like that. I mean, the plus side for Gabe is, yeah, he's Hellion died, but he got some probe damage, and also the Oracle burned its energy on that side of the map to kill the Hellion as well, so that's nice. But, yeah, no, he's definitely reactive. Like, the Viking and the Cyclone is exactly what Terran want when they're up against Stargate generally, but it's Trap has already messed with Gabe's plan in this game.
He certainly has, and these Adepts, they're... Oh, that felt like a bit of a bait from the young German there, getting the SCVs ready to take up some damage, but got a Viking out now, and he's going to have a Cyclone very soon as well. We just see the second Oracle. That's a big deal. So he knows that he doesn't really want to chase down this army, I feel, but it's definitely an army that is ready to pounce any time. This single Phoenix, 3 Oracles, I think this is going to be one of those times where he's like, okay, I'm going to grab the Cyclone and absolutely obliterate the army. Trap is playing so aggressive, bringing a totally different tempo Protoss this game.
Yeah, I mean, with that proxy pylon and he continues to warp in at it, that's almost certainly going to be the case here. Lifting up the factory unit means that it's just bio and a couple medevacs to try and hold on against a bunch of gateway units. And not like you know, if you have a tank here or a bunker, this is a lot easier for you. Or might get that stalker. That's nice.
Ah,
and there's that tank.
Yeah, the tank makes it so much better, but Trap kind of like wasting a unit there straight away. I didn't like that, but this Widowmine, oh, nice and burrow by Big Gabe there. Does not deal friendly fire damage. This one, though, does. And Oracles stay alive. The Phoenix is battling with the Viking in the air as well. Doing a good job is Big Gabe, but there's that Phoenix left on the Cyclone, and it's getting focused by the Stalkers. This is a very, very hectic start to this game.
It certainly is, but I feel like this is all right for HeRoMaRinE. You know, he's got his natural still. He didn't lose too many SCVs there. Definitely a trade on both sides. Trap not done. He's continuing to warp in, so going to try and at least poke a little bit more with these Stalkers. But he's only just started his Twilight Council. He doesn't have any more Stargate units. Like, it's not like he has multiple Phoenixes and that many Oracles to harass Big Gabe either. So I feel like this is a bit more comfortable for him, even though that was very bloodthirsty at the start there.
I think so too. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, Gabe doesn't really have that much tech. Is there a third CC in production? No. He's kind of resorting back to the tried and true, like getting the 3 barracks up and running, getting a few tanks out now. Trap's still piling on pressure, even though it's not necessarily like, I'm going to kill you, but he's up very comfortably on 3 bases behind this. And look at his saturation as well on the bases. Like, it's very, very decent for him. But again, I do like the way that Big Gabe handled the threat, because that could have been very scary, but Trap just seems to be a little bit smothering of Big Gabe right now, seeing everything that leaves the base.
And he's actually skipping Blink and going straight into charge as well, so really respecting the potential of the Terran ground attack, and just going to rely on the Phoenixes to be his, you know, his anti-air, to get rid of Liberators, you know, medevacs, that sort of thing. Bit of Viking harassment there from Gabe. It should survive. It's in the bottom right. Yep, there it is.
Vikings deal so much damage to probes with that upgrade, or rather that patch change, where it was like, okay, they deal extra damage to mechanical now, meaning they 2-shot probes. Oh, by the way, this is a pretty scary push by Big Gabe. He does see where the stasis is. And this isn't an army with charge just yet. I don't know if Trap was actually, he saw that scan on his army, and he was like, I'm not going to move my Zealots right now, because that would reveal that I don't have charge yet. Okay, no, he is actually revealing it, because that would have been a next-level IQ play. Oh, the Liberator in the main mode.
Liberator. Yeah, nothing for Trap on the way here to deal with the Liberator. He's not paying attention, so we have to rely on warp-ins. There's no Stargate units to shoot that down. So the Liberator denying a bunch of mining and killing 5 probes. Oh, if Trap can grab a few of these tanks, though, that'd be really fantastic for him. He might be able to break through that natural. Keep in mind, he does have charge.
Oh, the Phoenix get right on the tanks there, lifting up all 3 of them. The Oracles with the Zealots in front, catching all those Marines as well. Nice mineral walkthrough there with the SVs. They are doing a nice job tanking, but I don't think they're really going to hold on. Nice friendly fire damage, a nice bait from Trap as well over all the bio and SCVs of Big Gabe. Oh, his army just melted, Maynard.
It did, and without Widow Mines, without factory units, and without that many bio units, these charge lots can start to overwhelm here. He's lost 24 SCVs, and he's lost the series. Trap getting to 3